Okay, Fambulema bring warm greetings from the TNN TV news media empire. Today, Sunday, the 27th of February, 2022. Me now a host, anchor, presenter, producer, Prince Emil Koma. Today, Fambulem, as usual, very important conversations that we must continue for hold. If we get any hope for salvage, some things then for we people, we countryman them and we country. It's absolutely important that we keep up the conversation they are. The conversations have to be held. While we try for develop the numbers in the chat room, because we see few people don't begin sign on, I just want to go over a few things quickly. And Fambule and Una, we don't join, we just join. Again, I just want to express greetings, warmest of greetings from the TNN Media Empire. And I've been just to say that it's absolutely necessary for let we have this conversation and to elevate the conversation, we go benefit nation. No selfishness, just openness on an objective platter. When I see the flyer, we come out, we talk about a duopoly. The duopoly na APC, SLPP or SLPP APC. Very much more the same, all of the time, where we go address today in somehow, in some way. But the ask una be on continue for share. We also see opinion over facts, despite the fact, then call them fact, F-A-C-T. You go hear other people and they argue on the basis of opinion, despite when you reference the fact. Say go check Amianda, and we know what it mean for check something on a factual basis. Then go come back and argue on the basis of opinion, which just shows say some people are actually not interested in facts. In fact, they are out there to just mess the entire exercise up. Like we get one guy we always do on the platform where it's like a robot we already programmed, and I'm sure he will be here. He's always out, and say he's one of them that are sent just to disrupt program, even though not one where everybody they go so in they go so. But we see the presence of or the argument of opinion over fact, we are found very abhorrent, very reprehensible. Anything we not detailed thing, when a scientific thing, when a proven thing, when a fact. I mean, there is no need for let we they can try for put opinion over them. So today, Sunday, the 27th of February, 2022. Once again, now me they bring this program Canto Una live. Thank you so much. So Fambule, when I don't see the topic, it's called tribalizing our politics. The duopoly known as APC and SLPP. These two dominant parties they are now with politics. From where we born, now the two parties in this also be. Up to the point we did so, including the new one then we just born. And when I say that the two parties the normal Usabi, they talk about the one then where they rule we. Because after all, we've had all kinds shades of colors of party we don't come out. But now then two they are no more. Now then the rule we. And this last one I think we get 17 or 18 of them, but it turned out for be the same red and green and red. So today one rub mouth on this green and red little bit and talk about the tribalization of our politics. Yeah. Fambulem, let's just get me backup screen. This conversation here tonight is simple, straightforward, but heavy. I promise you, a heavy, because we speak truth to power straight away. We speak truth to power straight away. Nothing else but truth to power. So just bear with me right there. APC SLPP duopoly, tribalizing our politics and how our politics or our system is rigged against us. Okay. So, like I say, I just be one get me backup screen. And once I get me backup screen, we are ready to roll. You see, Fambule, the significance of all of this is one thing. When we talk about with politics, we want to talk about the measure where we use for sure say with politics now we country it they make progress. Or ask the question whether with politics now we country they make progress for we the people. That are the first question and the way we want to ask. Significant, very serious question. Is it about how we they criticize or critique with two-party system? You see, earlier on, I talk about the two-party system, and I mean every stretch of the language with two-party system. How we they talk about them? Is it really whose kind measure where we they use so we will arrive at outcomes where will be of benefit to we the people? Because we the people we self we get some responsibility, we do have some responsibilities, and we need to understand these responsibilities. How will they measure the outcome? Now I make you hear talk about opinion over facts, because some people them deliberately they take opinion and throw them over facts, where you get others who are ignorant of the facts. Then they come no more, they argue for argument's sake. But you get other one then way really sly and cunning and up to date, because what they do and they do and deliberately for one simple reason, because they support the other and for mislead the rest. So we ask today, now whose kind of measure would they use? Where would they try for decide the way our politics they go? Okay. How do we criticize this with two-party system? I mean, because what we they see of late is people and they support and they not get mind criticize. Whereas you can support and at the same time you can criticize, because the object of criticizing now because something not right and you want something better for happen other than waiting to happen. But this is not the case. So the duopoly of the two party that we don't the rule with for independence are directly responsible for the mishaps where don't happen to we in terms of poverty. One party go come and talk on the other day in another broadcast and try a little bit and make 3 kilometer road, and then the other one come and make 2 kilometer road. Such is the argument between 1 kilometer and 2 kilometer. In the meantime, the people continue for sink down low in poverty. But I want to tell you now also today at some point in the segment that it is deliberate that then keep we under as such. In other words, there is the ruling class which is up there, and then there is the struggling masses, the plebeians, them, the public who are kept down below the ladder. And I get for say today that it is true. That's how our system is designed for keep some of us. And then the vast majority, and then the ruling class continue for enjoy and the immediate family. This is why you see when it can come to themselves, the sport can bloody among themselves. But as soon as you want to put somebody in the middle, then they close rank and fight against that person. So we ask them question there. The outcome anyway, Fambule, between then two party there, whichever way we do them, we make them. And we get it's evidence-based, because we get 60 years, if not plus, since 1961, April 27, when we get independence. It's been either or, then two party there. That's how it's been. So the measurement will they make will not need for go far. Now then two they are no more now will they measure. Hence the argument all of the time. Now me build this, now me do this way you own. Then they show two story building and the other one show 4 story building. This is the argument about development in an entire country of 7.5 million people. It's the system designed against us for suffering. I always they talk about blind politics, because anytime you talk about this system, you get for factor this inside the conversation about blind loyalty, the identity politics, the tribal politics. For a long time, I avoided talking about tribal politics, but it is true that we politics is indeed tribal. It is tribal. There's no argument about it, whether it's the North or the South. But it's about how you practice them, because the way how people can get away with this is because they can make the argument like for say, well, the reason why we they make this argument is because regionally, or the party in manifesto, the party in objective, in aims, it resonate with we. So therefore, Naime could they support them. So then find way for excuse that accusation of supporting on the basis of tribalism. But that argument doesn't wash anymore, because we know now from then latest argument they we don't go on for a while. Now it's become overt. First it been covert. You they support because you belong. You they support not because it resonates with you on a policy basis, but you're only doing this because the party na me region they come out. The man where they lead the party, me and him will come out from the same household, from the same clan. This is why I'm supporting. And this basis of support is actually wrong. We get the audacity for tell Fambule say it is wrong. If I do the same thing, it's going to be wrong. Just for support on that basis, the support should be on the basis of policies, waiting they actually they do for benefit an entire nation. Because even in this argument, some are not even the benefit. And I so they make the argument strongly. And not the benefit too, but just because they come on at that house day, they come on at that clan, they come on at that tribe day, they tend to be supporting. So Fambule and the talk this one talk tonight and one talk and Tanga one. And going forward, we declare 2022, say this year, we're gonna up our game. Up our game in the sense we're gonna close around government, the system, and hold them tightly responsible for waiting to happen to with politics. Fambule, this is really, really serious about blind loyalty and identity politics and the way it affects we. Instead of people and stand up for the people, they are not standing up for the people. They are standing up, not even in some cases for themselves. They are rather standing up for the few within a power. And so you ask yourself the question, why will people be doing that? Because not all man they benefit from the state. Benefit from the state means if they enact good policies, you go get better health services, better agricultural services, better education services, and etc., etc. But this is not the case. It's more like lip service. So they play the few as against the many. And this has been ongoing for over 60 years. And we say Sierra Leonean people, we need for put we act together. Hence, this is not the conversation for you tonight, and I'm speaking directly to you, Sierra Leoneans. And I want for Leona spread this message far and wide. Let we put the partisan gloves aside or the partisan lens aside. Let's be Sierra Leoneans. Let's live up to that level for once, okay? For once. So I ask the question in terms of what I just talked about. Is our system broken? I repeat, is our system broken? Is the system just designed, Fambulem, for do exactly what it do so to we, which I just talked about just now, for create an underclass, a suffering class, we always did in the majority. Because for let that class they up, they survive and continue for propagate propaganda, they have to do such so that make any time where X kind of power, it do little bit, it build 3 hours down Susan Bay and everybody herald them, but then keep the class permanently under fed, under educated, illiteracy. They really don't want education. Let's be honest. It's half-hearted. Because an educated mass is not going to take some of them rubbish there where they happen or where don't they happen. Remember the politics back in the 1970s, now it make the country help for deteriorate to a level where it descend into one party because one person grab all the power, although it include other party people. But that was it, because there was an educated class, there was an elite class, and the education being just the mount. Remember when they call us the anthems of West Africa? That was it. That was the era, because an educated masses, now conscious masses, we're not going to take some rubbish then where they happen. They will protest, and we saw it back in the 1970s, in the late 70s rather, and we begin to see the shutdown of their system, then they gradually, till we arrive exactly where we are today. This not going to go down well with some people then, because then they expect a one-sided conversation, but with conversation, we always try for keep them in a two-sided way, objectively, put them before una, so una go able to make a decision on their basis than they, because that's what we expect of our family. Okay? The system they create them miserable inequity them family. In other words, the disparity between the rich and the poor, it always just the widen that gap there. So you see why I say the system, it determinedly they create an underclass where they in the many, because that is the way they survive. Because when they make the argument now for go put one Lily clinic down na Katakumbe, okay, we not even fit for purpose, because first of all, the population down there, the clinic where they go put, they not go able for cater to the population down there. And they're not even they fund them properly for let you able do the objective way now for look after the health of the people. But I get the audacity for tell family they say that is deliberate. They half-hearted things than the way they can do. Because why? The population not they think in that savvy way they. keeping the masses, here below. Now they give them thorough education, because uneducated masses go always revolt, go always protest. So this system of ours is broken and is rigged against us, the people, deliberately designed for keep we under that level there, so that then go able for manipulate we against ourselves. So you hear a person, like I say earlier, they make noise for a party within a power where they enjoy pumping, not enjoy nothing. But because now in cousin dede, it doesn't really matter. Because now in cousin dede, so you go protecting cousin to the hilt, even though you know they benefit from out of it. Whereas if you say the truth, if you are well informed and you make wise choices, the people that way you put in the power, now people that we go actually or way for actually work towards the growth of we country and the betterment economically and health wise and food security, physical security, emotional security for the people generally, not to half-hearted things them. Fambule, this is serious. Like I say again, within a crossroad in our country and a democracy what we fight for, with thousands of we people and die for, is once more at stake. It's once more at stake. And if we the people not make choices that are wise, it's only going to be more broken. Because the reason why I tell una about the keeping a permanent underclass, providing little education, because the education is not quality, and for decades now it's been like that. Me know the education when it been the top. And from a certain point, we see the education begin for descent when a patch no more than they do. Because it turned out for BC, then they do them deliberately because I say the system is broken. And then broke the system deliberately so then go continue for them at the top. And then the people continue for them at the bottom. They create their inequality there on a deliberate basis for divide and rule we. For do the work of creating a permanent underclass, waiting the need for do. They only need for pay lip service. Talk a lot and then do the bare, not even the bare minimum. Not even the bare minimum. Because the desperation in we people, any little thing, you go sort of pass. Any little thing. Keep the people hungry and then intermittently provide food for them, but not in good quantity, then you're able to control them. Because now you control the food. Now you decide who's our way they release the food for letting able for eat. That's a medium of control. And governments, both then and now, don't practice all that technique there. So then continue for keep with people down and then continue for make the system broken. Then create the inequality there deliberately for divide and rule we. For divide and rule we. But waiting they become clearer by the day. By daylight, waiting they become clear by the day, is that the system of where they function for create this permanent underclass or I talk about where they create poverty and illiteracy is getting exposed by the day. Because we get a young and restless population. A population very young. There's a huge percentage of them. Can't remember what the index they say again, but I just know that the population, youth-wise, is greater than the older population, the older members of the community. Okay, so this in itself now plus for we and a reason for let we hope, but we all need for lend hand for let we arrive at Usai we want for see we country they go. Fambulem, please continue for share. We need more people and for can hear this message. If they can't come on live now, we know say eventually go turn thousands of viewers because different programs and they ongoing. People they search outside and go see better program. They come on and tell them for come right now the TNN media empire because we talk about we nation and how we nation for go forward. We need for learn how for broke this particular system. We really need for learn how for broke this particular system. If we learn how to do that, we effort, where we don't put. And where we don't put before. Remember, I say, during the interregnum, for the same democracy, people then die. We only need for look at the history, how we went into the war, although it took a different turn, but why we went into it in the first place. Now, because of the social inequities there are. the wealth not been balanced. One set of people and then get a no more. Now they get a no more. The rest of we just poor, just they look up to them for crumbs for fodong, so that we go survive. At some point, when they even able for getting crumbs, then they may back up, keep the fodong. I need forget them somewhere. Well, they keep the fodong. Okay, let me just turn them down. So that culminated into the civil war warfare. Now God help we not fight tribal war. Because to some degree, there was tribal feelings. Because again, there's nothing really wrong at that level with your tribal feelings. Now, at the political level and way politicians can use for exploit the tribal sentiment, now it can disintegrate into something else where it become toxic, dangerous, and lead to genocide. Now I hear Sierra Leonean and all they call other Sierra Leonean and cockroach, mosquito, simply because the others disagree with them. Can you imagine that? Then language, then if you go learn about other people and genocide, especially in Africa and East Asia, this is what politicians were doing. Provoke them people them for call people them other words them. And that develop into something else where you look at other people them as not very human. Not very human. And that in itself was wrong. And it developed into a class kind of warfare we affect some nation them and some nation them burn down. Honestly, I make us say we've been lucky. We not fought tribal war, we fought a civil war because politically, socially, we've been disagree with the system. We've been not muzzle. Everybody in the state itself was broke. It was a broken state. And even the president, the late J.S. Momoa, may God bless his soul, he been careful come out and admit that. Rarely do presidents do that, but he did. He actually did. So, but this system we they set up against we need for tied bargain on how for broker is getting exposed day by day, but we need for come together because the more united we are, the stronger we are because we cannot be broken when we want broker system. We is rigged against us. And they are not in the many, then just powerful and get money, then get the army, then get the police, we then continue for the use against we I go talk about in this particular program. But they're not greater than us, the people. No, they are not. We effort them, fumble them, they go in vain if we they only talk, but we know they act. I repeat, we effort them, then only go in vain, or then go in vain if we only they talk, but we know they act. So what in this mean is if we they talk, it must be backed with action. Like when you read the mantra talk and do, but that in a different sense. And they talk about real, and they talk about the people in capital T and in capital P, the people, we the people. So when we talk, we must act. The talking must be followed by action, and we must be true to our consciences that what we talk, we mean them. But we need for come together to do this because the more we united, the stronger we are. If people are being oppressed, Fambulem, and you keep silent about that, then you yourself, you are complicit. Because for let evil survive and trample upon, all it takes is for good people to just shut up. Then say they don't want mix, they don't want talk. So the evil continue for triumph because the evil people are having a field day. And there are good people out there we can oppose that, but then think say they can keep quiet. But I tell you, by not talking, you are encouraging what is happening to the people and you are equally as guilty. But when you talk, at least you've shown some conscience. A conscionable people and they do that, then see something we're not right, and then do something about them. This is what we people and need for they do, especially some of the big one them. They need for the talk because the people are at the bottom of this. But Fambulem, we self get responsibility for unite. We need for organize. We need for mobilize. We need for make with feelings then known. It is true that then they use divide and rule tactics among we, and hence where the tribal thing they can now because it's like if una see don't they then police power now we are when I so that politics of fear. But the thing is, if you are just doing the right thing, especially when you go to elections, that's the message that you will take to the people. If you're doing the right things, because talk and do, you go get things for show for it. I've built the diagnostic center over there. I've built the mall. I've built the Freetown Highway. I have done or built the electric trains. I have built a new stadium or mini stadiums in few of the bigger provinces. I have done this, I have done that. I have paid 50 kilometers of road. I have made 2 or 3 critical bridges. This is not the thing. When you are now going to elections, now then thing there they go present to the people, and because they're quite kind of impressive, people buy into that because it's natural. They see it, it's tangible. They feel it, they touch it, they use it. These service users, they use these facilities. That's why you create them in the first place. But it is not so. So you see the half measure, Fambulewa they talk about, it's all half measure. The road they under, okay, don't see, don't 10 year, they get pothole. Then you come, you bring the Ministry of Works, then bring Afaf Kolta, then pave and but now organize them just like a huge project. Bring them, machine them, can roll over them, block the street for 2 or 3 days. And then when you don't roll over them, make them, they shine because you know Kolta, when then just put them in the shine, clean them up. And then you placard them as if this is some massive, your project that you've done. You haven't created anything, for goodness sake. So that's why I keep wondering, going to elections, what are you going to be showing for it? It really they baffle me, Fambulem. Going to election, what are you going to be showing for it? I really want to know. Okay. So they say if the people they keep them oppressed, and then good people them not they talk, they are complicit in that action where they happen until them begin for talk. Because when they begin for talk, then also they help for other voice. And that voice, they show up people them. They make people them begin for get compact. In other words, then begin for come together. Then begin get a feeling of unity, a feeling of leadership from outside of the system, which is rigged against the people. And then they begin talk about the struggle when they go through. And the next thing when they remember and have to liberate themselves from the struggles and when they go through. It's when you go through then trouble and then struggle and then. If you fail for take action or any inaction, now an action against the people. In other words, what I mean, if you fail for act in behalf of the people during a struggle and day, then I mean you are complicit again because you're not taking any action towards helping the people from the problems where they apparently they go through. You see, I repeat again, when good people do not do anything, when something they happen, and they have good people out there, don't get me wrong, but when they not do anything, when they not talk, then keep silent. Fumble. It's as sure and sure that they are complicit of the system. There is a reason why. One, it could be fear or reasons. One, it could be fear of persecution. But if you fear, I mean, then what sort of human being are you that you're not able to express your kind of feeling towards your people? And now they talk about politicians them because it's the people that are feeling the brunt. So they talk about politicians them. The one that we hope for inherit office. But we'll go back at the question, are they sincere? This is the problem. But again, for let evil us, the people, and deliberately and keep we under poverty, create a class of poverty-stricken people, illiterate people, because that's the only way they go. One of the only ways that they will perpetuate themselves in power. One of the only ways that they will perpetuate themselves in power. So then keep us as such. Then take debt to them left, right, and center. Imagine this is the state. This now state money. So when you take debt, if for trickle down and benefit the people, there's a reason why you take them. Probably you have a project there. You want to build a museum. You want to build a library. Them public facilities, them winner for the people. But no, they take these debts and then pocket the debt them. So debt, as we know are now money for the rich, and then more poverty for the poor. I repeat, debt don't become Money for the rich, it end up in them pocket. The already rich people, the ruling class, the elite. Whereas poverty don't turn out for be for the poor people. More poverty, more poor people. And it's deliberate because the system is rigged against us by a two-party system where now either Alusain or Alasan or Alasan and Alusain. Sierra Leoneans, we need for wise up. It's pathetic as we speak now, even as we speak now. The other people that they expect for Kana power is going to be one of the other. The same that has been going on for 60 years, that revolving door policy. It beggars the question, when do we effect real change? And that real change, Paddy man, now we are nade ide. God know I can hear people and they pray God. Well, don't get me wrong, I'm a religious man myself, but I do ask questions. Yeah. My own faith are the question. I know people and go say, well, have faith. Have faith. So even if you look at the philosophy of faith, it will tell you, say you get for try. They feel angry, that you sit down, you feel say food go come because you get faith, you just they pray. Now the Bible days 19 and they be they happen when manna go come up from heaven, where Jesus Christ feed thousands of people with 2 loaves of bread and 5 fish, or 5 fish and 2 loaves of bread, something like that. And then crumbs, honestly, he make a laugh. The crumbs we left from out of that can feed another tens of thousands of people. These are biblical things. When they talk about being practical, a pragmatist, you think in a practical way. What do you do for effect the change where you want to see? It has to be practical. People and they spend a lot of time in a church. And to me, that's a complete waste of time. You can go to church, where will be the come up? We go to church, we go do a prayer thing, If not confess, we go confess day, but the church get period. But now the church now for like forever. Now Sunday routine. From morning where you come on a use, they can't get in and that's where you can prepare for go walk. Just they pray, and they happen. This pray, they happen. Because you have to be practical. When you pray, you get for do practical things. If na school, you go ask Papa God for help you with or for. You get for no say na money na you get for build the school and money they come up. You get for no say na design. You get for have a design for the school and na people and get for build a mean money. You get for grab and go look for the money. You don't understand? But you spending all the hours day. Time is money. Do you understand that? Israel, where na the Papa God sit down. Where we get this notion saying na the promised land, where he take the land from other people them. Your own people that we create, but he take them from one and give to the other. Because this is not the narrative. They not sit down. Then they walk. And we walk in camp, you see them, then get the Iron Dome system. Now not just sit down because they say na God people and then God put hand over. So then rockets and they wait and they send pan them. It go for the other side, or you go even can down there, but they do the nothing. If you like the witnesses Jehovah, that thing where they can paint and then picture them, where there will come a time, here at the wall, where lie on them and mortar man and go lead on together, tiger and mortar man, and we all go there at that same place and call them paradise. So there will be no harm inflicted on human being, or human being will not inflict harm on animals. No, it has to be practical. And this analogy goes to we, the Sierra Leonean people. Now we where we sus, now we know how we they born we. If people are they go take debt in the country name, think they will grand picking and get for pay. I mean, this is serious family, and this is no joke. We grand picking and get for pay and debts there. We great grand picking and get for come and pay and debts there. But then debts there. Other people then they put on their pocket. Not of us say them build roads with them way we picking and get for can use in the future, or hospital and where they go benefit from, more people and they benefit from, so we're happy for pay the debt where we they can inherit. No, these debts they go to the pockets of politicians. So anytime debt rise, the debt ceiling rise, now more money for the pockets of the politicians, and it's unfortunate that it's more poverty for we people, creating more poor people. Money come up, but instead of it benefit the people, cut down the level of poverty. Instead, it turn out for BC. Now more and more people they can turn poor. You see, some administration them, and I go direct this at we current administration because not in dana power. We get for face fact. Then get many facets. The disgrace of and the ineptitude of this administration. It get many facets to it. I want for let we talk about a few. Let's talk about a few Fambolem. Let we talk about corruption. Okay. You see, when you say this, But you don't even have to care, because when you're saying the fact, you don't have to look back. And when you're saying with a clean conscience and in behalf of you, country and people, you don't have to worry about the notion of what others will say, because then others then disingenuous, because what you did talk about, hence why I talk about facts and opinion. You get your opinion, yes, you're entitled to them, but you know, mean say you can just get away with them when you express your opinion. Because the reason why you express, and I for let somebody again, I sure say, and that person therefore take heed, because it might make sense, like perception based on the opinion where you hold. But you need for substantiate something for show up that opinion there, so that it look relevant. So that it look relevant. You know, go say you see lion na central London, you know, yeah, na St. James Park. We not to people in Krango, they come on na for no. No, it doesn't really work that way. I don't know whether my analogy, it doesn't look like one smart one, but the point that I'm trying to make, when you express your opinion, you also get for sure and with little bit of assurance for make the opinion get really grit, really taste, not just talk. But then apart from opinion, you get fact. And fact get relevance. They get base. Also, you they take them from. And you can refer people into that. But some people are not interested in that. Some of them knowingly, because they are just out there to disrupt the facts. So they can carry out the negative messages of propaganda, which is the order of the day. So this administration, as I want for, we talk about a few things regarding corruption. So let's talk about corruption. The last administration, Fambulem, was equally corrupt. I mean, corrupt. And when they talk about the two parties, the duopoly, SLPP and APC. But we'll not get for dwell on APC here tonight. So we'll go fast forward to the administration because of the dinner power for 4 years. I know people and some people deliberately they do that every time you're having a conversation on media, social media. Then they make the argument for make a compare and contrast between SLPP and APC. And I saw them two parties are on the rule wheel. From time immemorial, remember I tell you, say, where somebody, one party can build 2-story building, the other one come, he build 3-story. And so then they measure, these are the measurements of wealth and development for 60 some more years. Shaka Stephen build stadium, he build you building. You wait till you don't build. Or I build carpet, waiting safe na Kenema. Grass carpet, mini stadium. Where the schools, where the hospitals, where the facility then we go really benefit you, where the agriculture, where you talked about so nicely, so lovingly. Where are they? They're not there. I go brush over the SLPP manifesto as well, because these things are so obvious. They are so obvious, Fambulem. So you talk about corruption. Corruption is on the up. Corruption is on the up, Fambulem. And the record is there for you yourselves to see. The other administration in TIF 50 billion. You see the competition between the two? This administration for 4 years, the corruption they on the up. And the irony about President Bionya administration is one of the explanation to the people in which he asks the people for give power, where he will use for fight against the other side. Now, issue of corruption, because if we trust him in give power, he go fight corruption. He go try for end corruption, not even minimize them. Whichever way, he will fight corruption. So he was given the opportunity. For 3.5 years, it's 4 years now. 3 subsequent reports from the Auditor General, owned exclusively by his government, PAOPA SLPP, has shown lack of integrity, the abuse of standards, processes, and procedures, rampant corruption at the very heart of government, including the office of the president and that of his wife. All the report them, and the money just the amount. From 100 billion the first term to 120 some more billion, and now 153 billion. From ministries, departments, and agencies is all corruption, corruption, corruption. And cronies who are kind of close to the president. These are the people and the circle of corruption, Nandi. And ladies and gentlemen, This just happens to be fact. So now they are going behind the mayor. These are the political intimidation tactic and techniques. There might be corruption, and I'm not going to broke you know. It's largely there has been a pattern, and we don't see this for a long time, especially when it comes to the mayor. The mayor in thing is not today. We therefore first of all understand that there is a conflict, and once you understand that there is a conflict, it's essential that you do your due diligence. Usai the conflict emanate from, usai it come out from. The why, when, how, and who is very important in this case for let you make a conclusive analysis. Very important. Because if you go to the beginning, you could see say that there was friction already between the mayor and the government from the very onset. The government compromised the Local Government Act. You see, this is the thing in a democracy, there has to be respect for rules. There has to be respect for the laws of the country. You cannot twist the law to suit you when you like and use other people within relevant agencies for back you up, such as that of the ACC, where we go talk about in this particular line one, and then you feel say that is democracy and people should tolerate that. There has been a cooking of the books for quite a long time. We saw the mayor being attacked earlier on because there were differences between the mayor, an elected official of the municipality of Freetown, where some people then get the audacity and the gall for downplay. An elected official, I don't even know how I want to say, as against an appointed official. They're not even equal. Then they're supposed for work hand in hand, a liaison from the Ministry of Local Government with the mayor work smoothly for the good of the people. But we see a minister where if he looks so ignorant, he thought he was right. And he was being very arrogant and ignorant right on rolling cameras, the unsung heroes of our time. We quick, we don't take picture, we don't video, we don't send message. Yeah. These are the unsung heroes of our time. These gadgets. Yeah. So we see the minister do that angrily and threaten the mayor in the end. He said, "You go see, I will deal with you." He said that on camera. But you go think, say, this not something where they against ministerial code. But the reason why he was doing that, because he had political connection. That's the only reason why he did that. Gross insubordination to an elected official and the president of Freetown. The mayor is the equivalent of the president for the city. She's a very powerful woman. That's why they call her worship. That title is very, very powerful. They're not just given for nothing. The Lord Mayor of Freetown, the Lord Mayor of Freetown, her worship. The position in itself, the office in itself is very powerful and is backed by law. Now then Lord and they now then push aside and try to make the woman look irrelevant, inconsequential. You know, women them in politics as at this time were very consequential. And this has been ongoing for quite some time and deliberate. Now, make they say there are methods for draw your analysis, you do you when, who, how, and usai. So now the history then it begin a long time ago for Dotty Talk and one have you. May you get in folder and pen. In folder and pen, and they take note. Accountability. Now then they accuse them of corruption. Will it be strange to you when you follow the history? So we go wait for the case. I don't know how the case get for go, but as usual, it seems like the government of the day can always get in way because they can do some arm twisting and they can violate the principles of democracy, the tenets of democracy for achieve the end goal. But this is not right. It is not right. And I say no. And I expect Sierra Leoneans for join in raising their voices and say no to these things. You see, sometimes earlier on I say, for let evil triumph, good people just need to be quiet, just remain silent. And some good people them, they can say, because not to me. But not knowing say for say then time go come. Because for let government operate in that way, what they can normally do, then go make like say they not get you time. And we don't see them from time to time, they not get you time. Of course, you not get nothing for do with this. So when they come for you neighbor, you keep quiet. You not talk. When they go for Johnson next door, you keep quiet. When they go for Lara on the other side, you keep quiet. When you time come, nobody left. Nobody left because you don't agree with them, but you think, say, if you keep quiet, but then ask you now for can't join them, then you refuse. And you're a man of credibility, now the community. So they want you because they want to show people and say, we are credible. But by then, there is no one left for help you, for talk for you, for even be witness. Now go you go so. This is why there has to be collective action. There has to be collective action. So this is what been happening to the mayor. And I'll talk about pattern. We see the case of the Auditor General. One case where go hunt this guy. You know, I can see, don't wonder, because politics is a nasty thing, let's be honest. But there is a way that you carry them out, we can be shrewd. But this one is so overt, some of the things that we are seeing in broad daylight. And it's like we are so deaf and dumb. We are so numb to what is being done to us. Like Italic say, we not even the feel them waiting and they do to we. Fambulen, this is really, really terrible. Really terrible. And we must act. And we must act now. Because failing to act now means that time they against us, the people. And we will continue to go through then things there. So I think so we don't go past half the hour. So I they ask una again, let we share. The program is being live streamed to Facebook, simultaneously to YouTube. It looks strange. Then few time there with Facebook page can get less numbers, and the YouTube page they continue for rise. So as we speak now, we get more people that watch them on YouTube than on Facebook. But let me take a first and only commercial. Hopefully next week we will don't get a second commercial. Thank you so much.
It shock you. It shock you.
Wow. I like the setup and decor. Quite impressive.
You've not seen anything yet. Wait until you taste the food.
I can't wait.
In a sense, money make you
Look at that.
Oh.
I am sharper than knife, I am sharper than nail. Them are small like ant, I am bigger than whale. My Baba God don't lift you up. Nobody will make you jump. Nobody will
make you. In Brixton, we do more of African food and seafood as well. In Peckham, we do more of African food.
Party, a reception or function of any type, this is the place to do it. Just do your booking on time and we can do catering for you.
Okay, Fambul, and welcome to the second half of the program. And I thank you very much for listening. Today, now the 27th of February 2022, it's a Sunday. And I bring you warm greetings from the TNN Media Empire, where they broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. Fambul, where they watching on YouTube, I hope you don't subscribe. Kindly subscribe to the channel and please feel free for share, so that other Sierra Leoneans and foreign nationals them go continue for watch we as we develop the case. So earlier on, I've been talk about the case against the mayor and several other things. And a few things. Corruption is on the rise, and then we see the brazen attack on the mayor, an elected official of Freetown, the smearing of a name, the character assassination of a name by known individuals. So the question what we want to ask is like, how possible is this? Can action be taken in the courts of law? I know that interview at the Macaulay a few weeks ago, and as a lawyer, we understand the system, don't they? I pose a question of that kind to But he was political about the answer. When I say political, that means you dodge you dodge the answer. So I'm not being get the direct answer. I've been the sick, I've been decided for person, but I realized he wasn't going that way. So then I had to back off. But here is the point from them. These things then actually happen. I'll talk about and go after the mayor and the reason why we need for understand patterns. Very important on why we for understand patterns. Yeah. It's very important that we understand patterns. So, what thing can happen? The minister challenged the mayor publicly. And this about 3 years ago, about dirty truck them. It was the process of accountability and responsibility. Who are responsible? So let me agree say at the time, there was a disagreement between the two because somebody not be understand the nature of his duties and Usai in remit stop. Usai in remit stop. In any case, on that particular case, if you want to be objective, you go take side with the mayor because it was clear what was happening there. The minister was in clear trespass. The process in itself was illegitimate in the sense that the rights of Sierra Leoneans were being abused. This is not a junta time, not a military rule where you can declare by some martial law. Say people are not for common ado from 7 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock because we they clean. No. You they impose some value on the Sierra Leonean people where the constitution of where a frown on. But in any case, the intention was good because now for clean the city. But the mayor being clearly get jurisdiction. Clearly, this not in domain, Mr. Minister. So now they in trouble and start. And ever since, we've seen problem after problem after problem. And now with a case of corruption, we smell funny. It's like red herring. But just to say this because it could well out turn out for be true. But until then, I hold my peace. I hold my peace, Fambulem. So we see another brazen attack. These are the patterns then what we did talk about. We see another brazen attack. This time around, who's kind of attack where we see? Now on the Auditor General, the Auditor General of Sierra Leone, a very powerful woman in many respects. Very powerful woman in many respects. An independent institution, and by some measures from a political and social class, one of the last institution of probity, integrity, and independence left in the country. Now, in then go tamper with, and that hurt a lot of people, both domestically and internationally. In the sense that at least we be get something for both of, but it seemed like no stone would be left unturned in the pursuit of power. So you see what I've been say earlier on that the government's intent now have to retain power at all cost. And in so doing, they will leave no stone unturned. But until we, the people, united and say, look, we're not saying that you cannot be returned to power, but there are means. We dey under a democracy, and then democratic principles then get for be followed. Remember, say the regime they try for act in accordance with democracy. They're not saying that they act outside of it. So they are making efforts. Now, it make you see that they go through a rubber stamp parliament, a rubber stamp court for legitimize their claims. We need to understand that because had it been a military government, of course, now by decree, President grab na morning, he get bad dream, he see me na in dream, they go behind woman, na execution for me. That's military. But in a democracy, it's the rule of law. The constitution supersedes everything else. So now the president deriving powers from through the people. And the people get a massive chunk of the constitution in their favor. Although again, it's rigged against them somehow, where I talk about the system broken and designed against the people, because the people the way write the constitution, they write them in their favor because these were the same political class, and then chook one or two, three people and the way they can easily bribe, like civil society, members of the general public, whether not a religious body or the association of journalists, just get 2-3 independent people and put on there, but the large body of them is the politician then, and then they write the constitution there, and when they write them, then they write them in their own making. Just like how God creates man in his own likeness. This is what politicians do. They write them in their own making. Fambulem. You know, unity is strength. We dey at a critical mass. I always like for use this phrase, and this phrase is quite appropriate. You dey see social media, opinion over facts. I mean, this is rampant and rife, but it's unacceptable. But because again, good people just need for sit down quiet, then anything they are go triumph. But if they not sit down quiet and pull them voice and say, this cannot be true, this is unacceptable. At least you go don't check a propaganda na the junction before it bend the junction. You don't check and then maybe you begin for go into propaganda in space, so propaganda go get for the reverse. That's victory for the people. But people we need for unite. So we see what happened to the Auditor General. Brazenly, they accuse them of XYZ, say lack of professional thereof. Fambul, and this was the charge against the woman. Now we were interested, we don't do a few programs on that, interested in knowing. Now, Uda lodged the complaint. Because there has to be a complainant. And remember, I talk about processes and procedures. There are laws. This is a democracy. The rights of people has to be honored. You get for regard the rights of people. We get protection under the Constitution. You can't just beat us, abuse us, intimidate us, and jail us. No. But unfortunately, because the systems of government are all rigged, from the police, who I get for talk about Lily Bit again, the man where they serve the Sovula, any allegiance to the president, not to the state, to the court suicide and get for saying you all rigged with lawyers and courts and judges and justices who are there for effect. You're waiting the government to want and say. In some cases, the government don't even, they already know, because the lawyers and in some cases the judges, they're all positioned. They know what they're supposed to do. So no need for happen. You see what happened to the Kamarimba case? This is a very interesting one, and it's part of this segment where they talk about. After they don't jail this young man for so much of a time, don't humiliate him for so much of a time, Fambulem. Let me see if I'm able to bring the Kamarimba story up a little bit. Let's see whether I'm able to bring in story up a little bit, because there should be a story about Kamarimba where we can let for play, because we never forget to get for keep the Sierra Leonean people involved. Yeah, that is still the languish na jail, despite a judge issued or granted bail. A judge grant bail after all the humiliation and the jailing and the drama and the back and forth for many months. I think about 13 months in imprisonment, illegal imprisonment on charges where look like a trump of charges. Because why? He's a member of the opposition and they try for silent him. I had this argument many a times. So they accuse him on one basis. We say, okay, that's good. At least that's an accusation, and you're going to the courts. So then we'll go make fair judgment day. But 13 months on, the judgment was so biased, so unobjective. There was nothing. Then deny the man a bail when a bailable offense. Then I begin for form my opinion reasonably based on sample analysis and patterns for say this case is politically motivated. And I argue, and many of friends, hopefully some of them, they watch the program here tonight. And it's like, no, the man did this, he did that, he did. But if he did this, did this, why didn't the prosecutor, one good friend of mine can always say, now because, the need for bring all the witnesses and come in by the stall and what have you, and passport and this and that and what have you. Today, look on the Monday, a day inside jail. To a point where it became a little bit embarrassing that there was a miscommunication between themselves. A judge finally grants the man bail. What do we hear? The clerk of the court or the registrar for the court, she joined the drama now openly because she was a very critical person, the clerk for the court, very, very critical, registrar and column. She herself joined the drama now openly. So we all hear the story about passport. The man may not tell them, say, my passport born. Now, one corner building. And the one prove and say, no, American, get, the man say, well, I not get it, don't burn. And if you don't report this, there is a police report to that effect. They say 3 policemen for signer. Well, now that will be the 3 policemen for signer now. When the case is politically motivated, whose policeman will craze for go sign up? Say, yes, the man may not submit report. You see how nasty this is, a fambolem. You see how nasty this is, because this is exactly what happened. So yes, you demand a police report based on the passport issue where the man may not report. And there is a report at the police to that effect. It's been lying there. And they say 3 police people have for signed the affidavit for show say this is true. So if the case is politically motivated, again, this is where I drew my patterns. That they refuse for grant and bail because now they not begin to set different values and confuse we not the public. Say, well, the person we supposed for get the bail because I think say they say forget 2 sororities them when we get host we equivalent to 100 and some more thousand. The man himself get hotel we value up to that amount. So it's easy for offending kind people and they. Now they say the other witness or the other guarantor being compromised because if they don't go na the case they don't go make judgment on behalf of Kamarimba and it been give conflict in judgment where they say in American citizen and they don't want American citizen for stand guarantee. All kind of deba. But the case was so obvious, politically motivated. From that day, even though judge were powerful or judge, they don't grant demand bail. For sure say powers from above actually exist. Actually exist. Report come out from a department of government say this man a day in poor health, he need medical. All of that was ignored. And as we speak today, the man don't spend 3 Christmas in jail. 3 Christmas under a democracy simply because he's a member of the opposition and we should be cheerleading and clapping for the government. Really? Really? So Fambulen, these are the patterns then what we talk about. So we also tell you about the mayor. The mayor, another pattern that develop. Another pattern that develop, Fambulen. The mayor. So when I don't see the things then what we talk about. We don't talk about Kamarimba. We don't talk about the issue of corruption. In fact, the issue of corruption, you know, the volume is endless. It's still being written. We don't create blank slates them for go before. Yeah, long before they get you blank slates because we know say it's endless. And we don't talk about Lara Telopias. And all the people there. So let me come to the police little bit. Okay. Till we don't talk about Mami Lara Pias. And all of this now abuses of processes and procedures, disregard for the rules of the land, the laws of the land, creating the law as you go for suit you agenda, or suit you outcome where you want. And this is quite wrong. But we have to be united against this and tell them that no, sir, no, Papa government, this is not the due process. And are the same people that want to be returned to power, by the way. And Naime can say, they're not shocked with so much that we kind of numb, and because we're not talking, they now take us for granted. Because remember, say again, this now be one expected outcome. This was one expected outcome for Shockway to a point where we're so scared, we don't talk anymore. We just keep our quiet. And this is what it looks like. So whilst there is a system of only one party right now, we not then they beat, not then they dance, not then they travel, not then they on campaign, other people don't jump to the conclusion that it's a foregone deal. Now the judgment these people and they make on that basis, you see how sometimes, and I not blame some of the people because some do know that this is not right, and then they do it deliberately because they want to pass the message on, whilst others are completely ignorant and just the falla. The real time where you get for make judgment, now where they don't clear the other side, we get for can compete against you. They will not all 2 days on the field now, they campaign. We wanna they travel from here for go Cambia, Makeni, Kono, Bo, Kenema, Kailaun. That's the time you begin for make the judgment. You can just they make the judgment because the president go under and in people and turn out for go welcome her and listen to what he get for say, and then that's a foregone conclusion that the 2023 election is bagged. Even the president, in my humble opinion, again, watching patterns, does not really believe that. Now I make 30 days still a walk. 30 days still a walk towards that end goal. Towards that end goal, they try to incorporate others as much as he can. Again, Alpha Kanwa go talk about where don't go briefly. They get Sylvia Blinden. I know they say Sylvia don't go. But Sylvia once upon a time, not too long ago, was antithetical to this government, to the president, to IMWF. but it seemed like there is a new romance in town. So even Dr. Blyden in articles them are more favorable towards government, and the articles them to your own party where belong are more damaging people and calling for the want of reform. But all the vitriol we been thrown towards the government, don't forget about Fatima. Of course, they made peace. That's good. But then the vitriol towards the government, identifying the shortfalls and shortcomings, which was a good thing, holding government to account, is no longer the case. The articles upon articles is favorable. Once in a while, very clever woman, he go jot them in with some lily criticism, but the criticism not as sharp, so it's noticeable as it used to be once upon a time. As it used to be once upon a time. So this is the step of this administration. Now let's talk about we police a little bit. Fambulem, the duty of the police, or the sworn affidavit on the police, then paper, if I can put it that way, now for serve and protect we people. Like most police services or forces around the world. Some people even change that name, the force, Sierra Leone Police Force, to services, because a service now they render to the people. It's not about force. See the technical difference there. Some police then later on in their life, they realize that it's like, no. This is about our people. We don't need to be talking about force. We need to be talking about service. We are here in service of our people. That's what we do, to serve and to protect. But with the Sierra Leonean police lately, doesn't seem like that at all, Fambulem. Not look like that at all. We see a police where increasingly don't become, we seem like say they're immune to the plight of the people. We don't see a police way continue for show disregard for the people. We don't see a police way they embark on the textbook definition for what amount. We see police they waiting for mobile phone and other things. They knock people need them. Touch so of course has dropped. We see policeman, the Fed policeman. In fact, it's so rampant and rife. And then the boss of all the bosses, IG Sovula, who was handpicked by the president, we don't pass 70 years, and according to the laws of the country again, he has no business being there. He should have been retired some time ago, and with the hope, say, the administration once again go respect law and order and try for retire this man. I mean, there are many people like him put there of your choice who fit the bill, not just anybody. Why are you still keeping this over 70-year-old man there when the law of the country says something else? Another violation of the rules. Having said this man, when President BOP come, he not pledge allegiance to the country. I mean, I'm not making this up, it's on tape. And I can go do the follow-up. Or maybe my next production, I'll try to get that tape and see whether I go play for una or the quote. He pledged in allegiance to the president and not the state. That in itself was a wrong thing. He pledged allegiance to the president and not the state. You don't pledge your allegiance to the president. Yeah? You pledge unto the state. When you take your oath of office, now for serve and protect the people of this country. Yes? Now that the president employ you for. So you get the confidence of the president. That's what you've got. And you are going to use the opportunity for exhibit and execute that confidence the way the president gets in you for serve and protect in people. But you say you allegiance natural. That was another wrong thing. But this is not the first time. We see the military. I will come to the military. Let me finish with it. Let me finish with the police. So we see this level of brutality and abuse of human rights by the police. Again, I'm not like for bastardize an entire institution, because after all, there are very good people within the institution, and this is the silence what I've been talk about. But in this case of the police, it's difficult, which I can understand, because you got a job, you have to protect. It's not about politics when you have to come out and speak, but you are not supposed to be political. So therefore, you keep your quiet. There are lots of police people who are good in the institution in itself. So I'm talking about about rotten apples. I'm talking about those that have been employed, recruited, and put into the police force as a militia to carry out this attitude, because the police is a professional body, a very professional body that don't indulge in that kind of accident of violating human rights, acts of torture in broad daylight. They don't even get fear, because why? They've got the backing of the government. Have you seen many consequences? Once in a while, when there's an uproar or it's so obvious that you can see, then sack somebody or then pull and come on a then transfer a because why? He or she belonged. He or she was executing what the administration will obviously uphold. Because now in their behalf, somebody will oppose to them and catch you, then jail you, or then beat you. But you do them for government. We thought these were things of the past, back to the 80s, 90s. No. We see down there under a democracy, and this is happening in broad daylight with the Siam. So yes, this is about the police. The same police, now the arrest Kamarimba, prepare in case file and send them to jail, send them to court and then send them to jail. Same police arrest another opposition leader, one of the most vibrant female opposition leader, Femi Claudius Cole, for trump up and cooked up charges where the only reason behind it, after we've learned, is now for intimidate them, because she's become so vocal lately, that the government, of course, they not like that. And above all, this woman is in charge of a movement of 13 political parties. I mean, this is history in the making. Some people again can want to dismiss that. Oh, almost vote then get whose constituency, where they represent, where the demography, where the percentage, and what have you. Well, again, if you're looking from that perspective, I feel sorry for you. The point is, 13 political parties, they not only get them for go form government. There are many things political parties can do. Now, then they get sponsorship from abroad, from international institutions such as the IMF and the EU, because it's part of the political narrative. It's part of democratic pluralism. Very, very important and very critical. This woman is now the chair for 13 political parties. Then we come together, and their objective now how foresee the back of this regime. That's the objective. And the regime doesn't like that. And I see people in the downplay, 2023 is bagged. Bagged where? Bagged where? There's a contest and it's game on. We know nobody need to get outright majority. Nobody. Because even if you try to cook the books, I don't think it's going to work, because it's going to be so obvious that it will be rejected. I must say this. Because if it's unfair, it will be rejected. So we know say they're not to get outright majority. Now I make you hear the president said don't begin to talk 2023, no runoff. Of course. Now the president I'm feeling that day, and maybe you say they inject that on purpose into the public domain for reasons. But no. So COPPP, a consortium, is a consortium of opposition or progressive political parties. The 13 come together for make that difference day, for show up. Most likely, the opposition party will go fall a little bit short from that majority, form a coalition with them, and form the next government. Because the idea, again, I repeat, is to get rid of this government, because this government has not done well for its people, has not keep up to its promises, and etc. etc. And I'm all the way. I'll read you some of the promises them. Okay. I'll talk on the last term. Where this constitution, this manifesto. Yeah. I'll talk on the last term. Yeah. The manifesto of the SLPP, brilliant. I'm not going to go deep into them. I just want to read some of the contents. Yeah. And how brilliant it was written. And if Mr. Sef, we read I fell for it. And I've been saying this for like a few years. And the first year, back in 2018, I did believe in that. I didn't expect much to be done then in a 5-year term, because I do understand, say, inside government, they take 1 or 2 years for let you don't mature, for let you don't know agency, then begin give you money, and for let you begin carry out projects of your own. But within that 90 days, 1 year, 2 years, now project then where you inherit, now you go to polish. Although certain quarters within the party, they try for claim talk and do like say, no. And the same people will say development, or we not look at development as a process, then look as an event. So even though then they polish up other people in your act, then see and like say it's theirs. It is not right once you put an away. So in terms of the constitution, when you talk about human rights and talk about the development, which is about investing in the people and unlocking the potentials of the people, how they plan for do this, which is about empowering of youths. How have they empowered the youths? How have they empowered the youths? Empower women. Well, I think the SLPP get vibrant women then. Yeah. But then they are competition publicly with each other. I think they've mended fences, probably artificially, but we see that at play when they go to the convention with them, they get for cancel and then can't hold them because His Excellency the President get for intervene, and somehow they manage for conduct them simply. You know, say, nah, kind long we then go for this thing here. The president in at the room, and that was rude enough. And the president began for say, idiots them, you know, they tolerate idiots them and what have you. Imagine he spoke in a very stern voice, and that was serious because he was in the room and there was misbehaving in the room. But that election cycle, they went bad. And then began for Holland. But of course, they went in-house, resolved some of the issues, mend fences, bribe some people, keep you quiet, and let's carry on. We need to behave as a political party. But where's the empowerment of the youth? Yeah? They say women are disadvantaged. Of course, it's a patriarchal society. Women are disadvantaged. But you see the irony. You they lock up women them. You lock up Dr. Sylvia Blinden. You lock them up. And she came out, she told us some of the things that will happen, the horrible things that will happen to them in there. You lock up Femi Claudius Cole. You just fired another powerful woman. I call her fire Lara Taylor. And then you're talking about women disadvantaging the society in a patriarchal society, which is true. But look at what you're doing. That in itself is disingenuous. You talk about improving education. We have to give you that free and quality education. Yes, again, teaching problem, una over exaggerate them, una stretch them, and una feeling the pain of that over exaggeration. It should have been phased into your processes. Yeah, that's what it should have been done. So as this they complete, they fit into the next and the next and the next. But it was all campaign propaganda. So you get for carry them out, and when you carry them out in full force as such, it backfires because it wasn't well thought out through. Who's how they pull the money? When it structures them. So many things. Now, make have been saying they may need for phase them out. But all said and done, free education, quality education, questionable, but acceptable. It's about educating with the minds of our people. But you see, the education is not quality. And I talked earlier on about how you want to give people a quality education. Government always half-hearted, especially with kind of government, they're always half-hearted because we don't want a too much powerful class of educated people. Now, threat to these very elites. But this is exactly what they're supposed to do. But for sure, say they're not sincere to them cause them. I make you see them the thief left, right, and center. Left, right, and center, stealing. Improving health and sanitation. We were promised a diagnostic center. We haven't seen it. Improving health and sanitation. Sanitation. Let's take a look at Freetown, for example. The mayor was trying to do well, or has been doing well. She's got this major infrastructural project called Transforming Freetown. Imagine, Freetown, the population was made for a population of 500,000. By the time we'll be born, they are not believed they'll be even reach 80,000 or 100,000 inside Freetown. Yeah, because Freetown not been stretched, so also not been there up the hill and they. I remember how they Black Hall Road where they go up the hill and then go was up now the hill and they so stone them, pick black tumbler and guava and fine place, very quiet and what have you. Now hunting and then go up there, go kill deer or leopard, tie the face kind of tongue and things like that. Yeah, so it was limited. Wellington. Now be industrial place. Also, you may get factories, not coal biscuits, butter biscuits, candle, matches, and cigarette factory, 555 or what they call them, with beer factory. So now it's over 1.2 million, and by some estimate 1.5 million. How you they transform such a city? There was a good program by the last government for beginning a new city around a new airport called Mamama. Malabio, for some reason, say it not been viable for Ram. Even though I still wonder why, because that was a good project for Ram. He accused the project of being too corrupt. But now you inherit them. Now you inherit and the money already in a bank. You will have hit the ground running, employ thousands of youth. Some of these problems you will have avoided it. This polarization and tribalizing with politics, because people will have been busy, money for their around. It's a huge project. And then the new city for begin build around that. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but we left that one day. So this mayor, they try for transform. But in order to get the help we're supposed to get from government. Government, they subsidize the Freetown City Council, but we understand that even they release the money then soon. And it's deliberate. Because if you get projects are time scale. They are time scale. So the president also in the manifesto talk about infrastructure, which is about providing the building blocks for development. What are them building blocks they are? Then are increasing access to affordable energy, increasing access to affordable energy. Well, this project again a long-term project, so they blow them out of proportion, but they are long-term projects, and they talk about water supply. Where are they? They're probably in the making, because I can always ask my friends who now give me this information about government and based on this manifesto, but they're not being done. Expanding transport and communication services. Expanding transport. Well, if expanding transport mean them buses there we come, then of course that's expanding transport and alleviating the transport problems in the country. Because when you bring them buses, then instead of them other comforts then and full up, then Nissan Dyna or how you call them IAs, then full up, then buses then they can help for ease that burden there. So yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. Enhancing the management of lands, housing, and environment. We see land is self-fitty fata. One minister is self-fitty them again for Dreba, Dr. Dennis Sandy. And Dreba, let's talk about the economy, fostering economic empowerment and wealth creation. They talk about that inside the manifesto. So it's about revitalizing the economy. Up till now, they're struggling. And this is where the key problem in this administration lies. We supporters of the government don't want to admit. But that's the Achilles heel of President Bio's administration. They promised 6 months that they go handle things. They said it. You see, everything was blown out of proportion. And now it turned out difficult for them. 3 years, 4 years on, they have not been able to handle this. They don't pull all kind tactic, all kind style. The bank governor, they don't auction, they don't buy, they don't sell. 30 days. Then tell we say inflation day in a single digit. In other words, they don't reduce them, but they not reflect on the prices of goods and services. Instead, anytime people and grab prices, they go up. In few days, we see Minister of Trade, they work like bomber for go tell people and for cut down the price of iron ore. Feel like say na rebel territory. They go tell people and for cut them down. You, Mr. Minister, now exchange you they do with them. Call or send letter or send you emissary. There was an intention behind that. But again, I know how many people in the bill? 10-15% of the population will get money. The bulk part of the population, 80%. Now rest. Now if you been do so, for be fine. But having said this, we know say rest price get for candom. But beware, it's going to be artificial because they're going to do something like quantitative easing into the economy for ease the burden on with people and towards election and hoping that you go forget. But if you get rest and then you free eat. But try for vote wisely, think. Because if not that basis day for that rest, then you want to get another 5 years, wait for 4 years, you not be able to get a rest day. And that 1 month you can get a rest day for. Think, use your head. So they also talk about expanding or improving the management of mineral and petroleum resources. Well, the only way they expand them is for themselves. We see massive corruption at petroleum BU, massive corruption, and this includes the president in Fambul. Come on. But we will left this constitution of SLPP, the manifesto of SLPP for another day. Let me just go focus back. So they non-jail Kamarima Mansari, they non-jail Claudius Cole, they non-jail Dr. Sylvia Blinding, and even though they write fine articles, they're now in behalf of the regime. And this same regime once upon a time abusing human rights. The thing is, it's not like you should not do what you're doing for write favorable articles, but if you're doing, has something changed, doctor? Has something changed? If something has changed, there's nothing wrong with you, showing overtures towards the government, especially you as a politician, waiting we believe say you think about now the good of your people and the development of your country. So if the government is doing that, why not you do well for them by writing positive articles and speaking favorably of them? So my question to you, Dr. Blyden, is has the government changed? are they doing these positive things suddenly? Because I mean, there's a 360 between you and them. At one point, the relationship been topsy-turvy, been toxic, and what have you, but you've made up. But politically speaking now, how much are they doing? How much has changed? The idea that we cannot hold the police liable for reckless killings is causing the problem, and we've seen death in the hands of the police like that. Pikin we go die with him mama inside police custody. That's a stain on police. Because that in the first place should not have happened. And we know, say, for hours, the woman, they call to them. They tell them, I need help. I need help. Me pikin, me pikin. Goodness me. And that pikin die. Police custody. Can you imagine? Negligence on the part of the police. So we see the McKinney killings. We see the Pademba Road massacre. This is why I say the general good of the institution, it still stands because there are good people within. Waiting we know, recruitment has gone on. Some time ago, from a member, Lahai Lawrence Lima, the deputy minister of what is it called, internal government, he do some pass out, some recruiters some pass out. Now that you think say they may pass out too. So these people are within the force. We know that. Staining and tarnishing the character of a good organization where millions and millions may be spent for reform the police. I think say the police go need reformation once more or for get rid of the bad apples. And this now appeal directly to the politicians because government on, government off, they all do the same thing, come and politicize the police. We be again things say this have been things of the 1980s, where they allow policemen for go sit down at parliament. Bambe Kamara them sit down at parliament. When they allow soldier man, the brigadier, the late brigadier, J.S. Momo, head of the Sierra Leone Armed Forces, is sit down at parliament. You see the level of corruption, that was bribery. So then get them right now the heart of parliament decision making, and the institution there, we are supposed to be apolitical. A with a capital, political. So then politicize them. That politicization has not gone away, but this now can help for destroy the state. So we keep bidul and come and try for reform. And these are some of the things that they try for inculcate back into the police. But somehow there are elements of politicians, them, including with heads of state, we can try for tribalize the police and use certain element them with the police for carry out and dirty trick them. Sierra Leoneans, we need for stand up against these things. We're not supposed to allow these things to happen. No, we shouldn't. So we see the Pademba Road prison massacre. This not be element of we security forces them. Now then carry this out on the orders of who? We go left for no one. They would give the orders. How the whole thing was planned. Tens of dozens of people have been killed on Pademba Road. And we see audio and video will come out. Also, before the massacre start, the people and go assemble. So we know these people. Why has not been there has not been an investigation as to what really happened, like a commission of inquiry? This is where you set up a commission of inquiry, where something like that happened. A main maximum prison was overrun by elements of who we don't know. But allegedly, prisoner then try for revolt or mutiny. But how come officials of government be non-day ahead of time? How come? How come? To the point where a non-government official, during curfew hours, dinner for them by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, before the revolt. They wait for the other one there for can assemble, including the minister of the deputy minister I just talked about, where, according to them, arrive 5. Instead, waiting until the supporters then come. Then try for destroy that evidence day by one saying, oh, na clone and clone human invoice, not to invoice this. Fambulem. Opinion over facts. Factually clear. And if you splice a video or audio, you don't know. Not all man go know, but professionally you go know. When you cut, now I mean when you cut part join here, you will know. Or you do sample voice of the person, you will know whether or not the person or not. But again, then come the mass down there. And 3-4 years on, of course, people are angry and get for think about them belly. But it don't mean say people and forget to. People actually know. And it didn't have the mind. It really didn't have the mind. So this not the thing we don't happen at the police. Let's talk about the military a little bit. The same politicization of the military is on. Full bow. We see a first lady, they tell we say he recruits 300 people and woman them or what have you. Whose business is it of the first lady of the country for go recruit people for the armed forces of Sierra Leone? Fambulem. Tina the bin that country dey. Again, new. Because back again, when something may happen, we not raise with voices. When newspapers do not carry the negative elements of that particular exercise or program there. With news media, print and audio and video and TV stations, they not carry out the negative elements of that particular thing there. For cry that foul they will play that it should not happen. Usai the pass out, I think that Banda Juma, when are the first lady they go pin the people and the soldier man them. No. This is an independent body whose business is to protect the country from outside aggression and not being political. So the head of state, who is the commander in chief, and luckily for we na previous soldier man, now in business or in defense minister or in chief of staff, for pin them people in there. But we saw the first lady carrying out that exercise. We not raise with voices for make and known say this exercise is not correct. So now the next one we hear is he say he recruits 300 soldier woman. Fambulem. Well, if we not raise with voice again, like Camille raise my voice and condemn that act there, well, we will see the worst. Because there are things in the making. The same thing. The analogy wa give. For let evil survive, it take good people and for remain silent. Take good people and for remain silent, both within and without. One day within the country and the one day with the outside of the country. The one day with the inside the country and the one day with the outside of the country. Again, those actions were wrong. Where are these people? Who are these people? Waiting at the process. How independent was the process? We need for know. Election is coming. And election get consequences. Salon people, then we need a point of convergence. What do I mean by this? A meeting point. A meeting point. Right now, that meeting point there is absolutely necessary because time is of an essence. Time and necessity for we, the Sierra Leonean them, for use the opportunity, for reflect and reflect quickly and genuinely come together and see whether we can map out or constitute or make or draw out a roadmap for the future of a democratic process for our country. We really need to do this. Time is running out. We need to find a point of convergence, I repeat, where we will come together as a people. We use the time for reflect and try to see whether we can map out some kind of a road plan or roadmap for the future of democracy proper. Because we do have democracy, but it's been trampled upon. It's been compromised. Now, some of it are just outlined just now. So the police, the institutions of the state, ASSL Sierra Leone, Audit Services Sierra Leone. We see what's happening. We see what's happening with the mayor. We see what's happening with the Auditor General. We see what's happening in Parliament. All the tenets, the pillars, the principles, the variables, all of them need to be considered, and all of them, they're under threat from people who determine, say, even when they don't work, they don't get something for show for them, because this is how government operates. And these are what you take to the people where election they come, what you do for them, not for violence. So I remember, the manifesto, the few things they want to read just now, or what are you going to tell the people? Whose message will you get for the people? Or are you going to raise their hopes again? This is why I'm asking the Sierra Leonean people to be conscious. We have to be conscious. Because it's not like saying, I hope. God, what are you coming to tell us? It's the bridge. I read the president say the other this is interesting, family. The past said the other day, Lunge Bridge go be me first priority in my second term. Now the thing I begin so again, Lunge Bridge, I shall be come out. The minister, is there on record by God in power. Better we say by God in power, because God not give that power again, unfortunately. We will see the Lunge Bridge this month. And 3 years ago, it come back again, 2 years ago, come back again, 1 year ago. Now the president says second term. But Fambulem, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Are we idiots? That the pie himself don't come out and say, Lunge Bridge will be my second, my first priority inside my second term. But the full man them, some of the supporters them of the president, they're not even listening to the president to get the idea. They talk about Lunge Bridge as if it's attainable under this 1 year we don't left. Where the pie himself we get in government, where they run the country, don't come out and say, me next term. Interesting times. You see how half-baked they can keep we and how the system is rigged against us, and the constitution when they write the same politician, they know they write them, and when they write in their own mold. Because if they did not, then they write in behalf of the people, now they complain, say the president get too much power, which is true. Therefore, don't water that power that they don't. Now they want the president for call for a constitutional review where he go look at himself and reduce his power. Now, who's president will do that? Unless commander be get mind do that. If he had the opportunity, Justice Cowan be not doing constitutional review, making recommendations, the file them. President Bio, come this BNTM because he may not make that promise. They talk about white paper on the constitution and what have you, pass waiting, nothing. Because you can't afford for compromise your power. They're none. So it has to be we the people and we get for force them to that position there for let them actually do something for once and for all, make the constitution work for we. But if we're not and we allow them for continue for play we, then they give up, they will continue to do that. Whether or not the next government come and not be BO, it be somebody else, that's exactly what they will do. Because they enjoy it until we the people force them for change them. So in other words, we need for being organized, we need a point of convergence, how they meet and decide, say, we don't want this anymore. We begin draw a roadmap for the future of our democracy. The one we left, so go salvage them and show them up and go before. And from then on, nobody can play dilly-dally with the constitution again, how they want. We want an independent parliament, not a rubber stamp parliament. Because the other one, the way they inside themselves, they are all pretending, me brothers and sisters. They are all pretending. They are all in the game together. Because you see, again, as I say earlier on, this is only two of them. Two of them. John go, Peter come. Peter go, John come. So they can get them clash them once in a while between them. And some of them can be serious, but others are just made up. Yeah. So we go see, let's say, they get difference between them. And this much difference. But I tell you now, the difference between these two, a paper will find difficulty going through them. I want to use the Christian part, the Bible parable, but don't forget and Jesus Christ in parable about the eye of the camel or the needle. But I think the paper one is okay. The difference between these two, paper will find difficulty for go between. That's how these two are. For Sierra Leone, like I say, the future, it actually did now we earn. For salvage the democratic process of a country, we really need to do something. We need a country who say we go able for champion or boast or enjoy the benefits, the economic prosperity of that particular country. All the citizens of the country need to enjoy economic benefits of the people. Of the country. You can't get a country where the 5%, they suffer, and 15% when are the ruling class or cronies to the ruling class. Now they normally enjoy abuse of processes and procedures. Yeah, procurement rules, local government act, the constitution of itself, bastardize them, and you say you get a parliament and you get a judiciary. No, these are all rubber stamps. That's what they are. They are benefiting massively. Remember one thing, first of all, they look for secure in second term. Because there is a rule where say, if you can secure a second term and they talk about parliamentarians, then that means you don't secure your lifetime benefit until you die. Can you imagine that? So that's what they're working towards. You see, all the rules and therefore change. When we constitutional lawyer them, where are they? When the independent want them, when they not go bribe, where are they? You see, when I say we need for come to a point of convergence, we need for bring them professional they are with we. We not to professional them. But then get professional people them. People them, we sabi constitutionality, the rule of law, democratic expert them, CSOs them, we sabi the nature of the job, them Marcella them, bring them all come together, then Albangus them, all them people and then get them, then Dr. Matthews. They're there, many of them. Some of them, they don't compromise, of course, because then they look for chop, then they with the government. And then they write a favorable report where nothing not really been happen, but just confuse the international community and heavy support when they come. But now they don't realize the truth. A US delegation, congressional delegation kind of Freetown. One of them tracing routes to Freetown, but not to holiday they come. So the president conduct, yeah, as a mark of respect, something more ceremonial. Vuvuzela then don't catch down now, like say this delegation can visit the bar and they can endorse them for the next election. Really? Really? So there is so much propaganda. But like I say, we need for put we act together, find a place where we all they can meet up. And how we go enjoy the economic prosperity in the country, how we go enjoy good health. So I admonish we all, it's time for let we raise awareness for we people them. I don't even pay attention to the chat room. There's not much in the chat room, and I believe so because people are actually enjoying the program. Normally, when they enjoy the program, or if they enjoy themselves, they can engage. But now, let me just read a few within Usman Conte, Ahmed Kamara, and 9 others are watching. Okay, Ahmed Kamara, the issue should be about competence and integrity of Sierra Leoneans. Yeah, agree. Abdul Salam Fofana, brother, this is not a hiding secret about the two. The SLPP did not believe in development. They just believe in divide and rule just because they believe in lie. Why they forget that this is a global world. The APC can point out things that they provide for citizens. Yeah, I will agree with you. Some people will deny, but of course, you are absolutely right. That's true. Delwyn Thomas, our elections are not about achievements. Our elections are literally about keeping the other party out. Absolutely true, sir. Almami Kamara, brother Prince, I respectfully disagree with you on the analysis about the war. The Southeasterners have always engaged in creating wars through their militant tribal groups to power. Let me just address that quickly. You have a point there, Almami, but I think, honestly, one thing that you're failing to realize is there was a reason for the war. I'm not talking about the history like Dobowusu and what have you, but it's all been about political power. We do get that. But in the 1980s, the country was a failed state, brother. It was a failed state, and nothing could happen within because everybody was so demoralized. All the institutions of government were so demoralized, including the army, which was tightly knitted. And that make them put Brigadier Joseph Momodi. And them man, they not even get uniform for wear. Not hardly they take pay. That was the demoralization. And then the tribal element, the Limbas, all supporting and had them been there in places. So then they been give cause that when you can wage a war, you go able to sell the war on that basis day. So to me, there was I don't support wars, but because I maybe one change and change may look like something that happened within. It's almost like the Samuel Doe scenario in Liberia. He became so strong, so despotic, and he root out everybody else and then ministry them. Only in people. It became much more tribal. That you can't do anything. You can't do anything within the army. Hence why they had an incursion from outside. First attempt was Kurungpa from Sierra Leone. That poor relationship between we because he bring along SSD then for can help and fet. He lost to Samuel Doe. That brought backfire. But then the second one, Taylor Kami, was the same thing. So, but anyway, you see how much of the country destroyed. So now the points down the border, Almami, okay? Where is the alternative without these two parties? That's a good question, and it's time for reflection, sober reflection. It's not impossible, it's difficult, but we, the people ourselves, have to go in search for it. We have to begin to form something, out of thin air, calling the professionals, not these crooks, these thieves. No, I don't agree. They've had enough and much time. Let me just end the last reading. Mohammed Toure. The issue here is until we start to look at issues from a national point of view, rather than partisan views, we will never be in position to call things as they are. Exactly, my brother. And the brother resonates with me quite well. And this is the point. Not from a partisan lens, because this is what the problem is. We're looking from a partisan lens, then pull few of we up, the case closed. The rest of the people in huge numbers, percentile wise, 75, 85% continue for suffer. And then when they're ready, then give you one lily hospitaliana. We're not even fit for purpose. And that's it. And then continue for the enjoy. Look, the first lady in convoy. Imagine how many patrol. Why do you need that number of convoy? Look at the amount, the kind of cars then where they use, where the spare parts. Look the one they where they go buy for Nakovac. They book down our spare parts no there, and then motor car and they cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So you don't see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I need to wrap up this program. I think say I don't pass what is it now? 21, 22. Okay, 13 minutes, 2 hours correct in this program. So you see, we need to begin to reflect on these things. And I absolutely agree with Mr. Toure in sentiment where he expressed it. We need a country who's able for champion prosperity for we people. That's what we need. Good healthcare facilities, then promise with diagnostic center. But probably then they wait for the second term. But the president did promise with that, and there was a check issued to the president by the ACC boss, Francis Benkaifala, billions and billions of leons we together from corrupt officials, then we pay money. They go present them to the president, and they told us that that money will be used for a diagnostic center. Now, that was a good promise. But the president just need for leave to implement, because idea of a diagnostic center or anything within that realm, health facilities, will go help the nation. It's acceptable and appreciated. But up till now, we'll not see, and I make her to say probably next time. Okay. There are many things where the president can do. Waiting can happen. Will they see then they lie the same lie all of the time? Anytime we election business come, the same old cook, then the criminal and the thief them. Now so then they come back again, then put themselves inside new bottle, old wine inside new bottle, and can sell themselves, begin tell the people that all kind of fantastic thing. I see one video been make the round some time ago. One politician, the people elect him. He promised the people all kind bridge, the village side come out, the tongue side come out. If a build bridge where they connect the two side them. Promise the people in that. He go to the government, just they eat money, they drive motor car, they come down at the village, but empty in the drive and they get money, he come with boats. When the next election they approach, he come down to the people and can begin explain the same story. You know what the people and do? They run them into the water side, the river. Don't put bridge for being cross easily. They come back can't convince the people. They actually run them into the river. Now run away. Yeah, they swim across the river. Such is the mentality where we people in need for have. They want to call them violence, but they don't perpetuate so much violence against we. Yeah, what else can we do? So the same cook then they come and they can't give them chance again, and would they expect a different outcome? This is not the textbook definition for idiocy as defined by Epstein. Yeah, Einstein, not Epstein, Einstein. Yeah, the philosopher. Typical textbook definition for idiocy. We do the same thing over and over and would expect a different outcome. It doesn't work that way. Hey, family, this will not ever get for happen if something dramatically not change. And if we, the people we say, will not wise up for change things. Then two parties they are absolutely responsible for waiting they happen to we right now. From independence, like I say, it absolutely they happen to we. I need to end the program. And I remember how they end because I really want to end up on a high. But in the thought process of some of we people, there is no ambiguity or there are no ambiguities in some people in thought process. Waiting them actually believe that we all they talk so in behalf of the country, we not lie man them and we wrong. Then they preach tribalism, cronyism, partisanship, whether they carry the country go before. Because remember, it's obvious if the country they go before, we they see them. There's poverty on the rise. The Leons is rubbish. It's rubbish. Bank governor say he bribed the other day. And remember, for 4 years, they've tried almost everything in the book. Don't buy, don't sell, don't auction. Tell we say inflation rate don't cut. Take today. With people and barely they go through on a daily basis. Poverty they on the up. They speak to people and they on a daily basis. Where they can ready, they can want tell we say the people in Dongyang and not get time for politics. Of course, they not go practice the politics on social media like we do. For simple reasons, economic reasons. But when they sit on a tire base, what do you think they talk about? Even when they talk about football, it's politics. Politics is rife because there's a restless young people. But some people belong into that class there, or when they go down, they mix with the ruling class and only listen to them. And then they even go beyond, like the proper suburbs of the city. So you come on uphill station because something like that you party the high mats until you lodge, also you get property. You cannot you tap na Aberdeen, you tap na Family Kingdom or Aberdeen Junction. That is it. And you want to make a formative opinion on that basis about 7.5 million, 1.5 million at the city. If you meet 100 people, then you say so. There is a burning desire in the people for change. Something dramatically need for change. So the people they can't adjust the weight. They are just waiting. So in the thought process of them, people are then think nothing is wrong. That people like us are wrong, and then are then right. Then when they preach all the negative preaching, and they are the ones right because we need to see waiting and they preach. Because if they preach and you say, well, look, and maybe they can go take them FF project them way, then just they polish up portfolio and then can cover them and say this, that. Look what happened in a constituency 110 when I'm in the Fed for go get them. What thing actually happened there? They not take tractor and can go as if then they can't embark on some project just for fake the people them. When they lost the election, what happened? Did you see any project there? That machine and they disappear as quickly as they arrived. And such is the kind of thing that we're seeing. We need for wise up, we need for open we yai and we yes them. Family and perception matter. Perception. It really matter the way how we perceive things. They will just make sure say we try for back them up, not with waiting other people they can do with based on just falsity and intention. No. We for actually gather evidence, look at patterns and systems. So even when legal questions are asked and the answers then when they provide, it's still really at one level we know say perception still matter. How will they look at with government? The measures then what will they use for measure them? For be equally important, what you want for see development, expansion of roads, expansion of transport, massive development projects, communication projects, health, education. Are we seeing these? This is the question. Are Sierra Leoneans better off? Even the middle class that was created as a consequence of the last election, because we go and say the NGC na a form of a middle class. Now then come up between them two parties and go form this middle party. We've been a hope for take power. That has shrunk because most of them have gone back, to their respective party. So the base of the NGC has sunk. And that reminds me of Dr. Kande Yumkela and the president recently. And the way our people in the take up. Which I want to let Fambule know from your own perspective is the president not just go to public and go talk, say, Kande will beg you, for come home, blah, blah, blah. No. One thing we'll get for no politician, and then criminal, then shrewd, then sly, then deceptive, then hypocritical, then get all them qualities in there. I have no doubt that they may not discuss that in there privately. President Bio and Dr. Kande may not discuss that privately. Then just go make them public. President Bio go make them public who said Dr. Kande day. Because he came back now for save face. Now face saving measure. Say, well, until you know how we pass. Now for can't talk on a public say, well, na so. Look at Dr. Kande in response. But what you going to do in the next few days, we're going to watch Dr. Kande in support of them, the strong one them, and see waiting in the right and waiting in the say. They will begin form opinion on that basis on exactly waiting to happen, whether Dr. Kande is on his way back. It's interesting times because Dr. Kande also they play ball with progressive party and they not make huge progress. So it's interesting time coming. Are they asked for let we respect with differences? Yeah. Disagree with me, I disagree with you, but maybe we can find common ground. Who's how we go agree because we argument is all based on the business of we country. Now we country we want for let go before. Other than that, the argument will be a complete waste of time. But when they come up from different direction, but some direction then you had for taking. Because again, like if nothing they happen, but you continue for the propagate say something they happen, thin air, abstract, when they see nothing, then come on. Okay? Come on. What are you talking about? But the bottom line is we are still citizens of the same country. Now the LCD down there, we are still citizens. So we got to respect that. We got to know say that is what we have in common. And that commonality in our country. So if we can come together on that basis and see we country first, like my brother saying in the chat room, put the partisanship away and think country first, it will make a huge difference. And this politician, and first of all, then will stop playing on us and do what they're supposed to do. I'm absolutely convinced about that. You know, some of the people that are getting put away by politics, and you can understand why, because they're becoming weary. It's like not in order for change and one of you. For those of who now believe they're in a small number, where they're in that position, they ask you, please don't be disappointed, because you get for join the bandwagon. We need for organize, we need for mobilize. We need for organize, we need for mobilize. Okay? We really need for do. I know the choices then what we get consistently has been you either green or you red. Either you red or you green. And in terms of power, same thing. But hopefully, if we understand the dynamics and the power vested in us, with the inside us, we're going to understand, say, we're able for make a change and we're able for make it happen. Because there's a time we go come over, we'll say, no, these people they need for stop for play on we. What I also know is that people and dread for loss. When it comes to losses business, people and dread that more than when they make profit. Because if they make profit, but not really profit, you can put up with that even though you want more. But when you notice, say they can lose, you know they sleep. And more than you pass all thing else. So I can understand criticism as well, that it stings. Especially when you didn't at the end of the criticism. And if the criticism not fair. If it's not fair. But in this case, every one of it is fair, is relevant. Every one of it. So we make no apologies, for saying what we're saying. If we get better memory for things that go wrong, or we go always get the memory on top of we head of things that we don't go bad, we don't go wrong. Like I recite book, who thinks then just know about the 1980s, waiting happened, the failure in government, the failed states, Joseph Momo, Saidu Momo, and then the war efforts, and way I turn. So all them bad things then they left na me head. And I saw people and we get memory for bad things for a long time when they keep them, than we get now we head or keep the head now we head for the right things then. Because the right things are just right and we appreciate them. And we take them for a foregone conclusion, and rightfully so, because that's way for be. But the bad things we tend for Mibara for them very, very reasons than they. But things are so bad now that any message of hope and change with people in the area, it quickly they resonate with them. So remember, say the propaganda don't step up level again on that. This is exactly what I mean. So when people in the area message of hope, they come again like, oh, my second term, the bridge will be my priority. But first time you be say blah blah blah. In 6 months' time we go solve the we'll not worry. Yeah, we don't put everything into place. In 2 years' time, now they call you second time, or in 2 years' time, things will change. Now this now we the work towards. We don't put structures into place. So all that thing they begin for give people and hope. So it resonate with people. But I tell you, it turns out that the people the way they make them promise there, just like I say earlier. Now, old politicians then we put themselves inside new wine bottle for appear like say they knew they promised the people in heaven, where they may get the opportunity for the duration of the period, they not produce the heaven at all for the people. Instead, they provide and produce more hell. But they enjoy, they've stacked up their pockets, their accounts. They are filthy rich by now. Most of them filthy rich. Most of them have built houses that in their lifetime they will never have dreamt of building. And all of this on top of an ACC boss we say there will be an accountability process in which people then go come for can't justify unexplained wealth. Unexplained wealth, who say you they work, how much you they make, how long you don't work here for, how much you they spend, how much way you don't spend on for you picking, then you owe you this, you that can left. Then what you get also? How you build this house? How much this house cost? You try for mixed match. There's a lot of it ongoing, but the ACC boss is looking elsewhere, like Dr. Kande say, going after low-hanging fruits and targeting the opposition. In politics, you cannot rule out anything. I will make a program I call Politics and Strange Bedfellows. I think that the same Dr. Blyden and First Lady Fatima Bio. Politics creates strange bedfellows. And now we don't begin to see so. Alpha Khan, we don't dance like Yeliba for APC. Don't sing praise for Anesco Roma. He say because they not give him in due na APC. Remember, I said there have been 28 of them, because they not give him in due day. So in the go other side. To me, again, he's just been political. But that is very unfair because now the other 28 people, the 27 will have set for Vex now and go. Because by in logic, that should have happened. So from the apprentice in the navigator now. Dr. Kande Yumkela, like I talked earlier on, the president don't make overtures to him, don't approach him publicly and say, Odiabra was sorry for what me happen. Kenemwe, and all the treatment where we give you, the harassment, the molestation to you late mama, forgive we, please come back home. Dr. Kande don't make statement, well, our whole word. Let's see what happens. That's why I say politicians are shrewd, they're hypocritical, deceptive, but we'll wait and see because they're making gains in the COPPP. Now the pardon win the 2023 election, but when I see what they do, or maybe they just try for wrap up and make sure say it gets the outright majority we talk about. We say we get the best oil in the country, but half of we food we will eat and I bring them the and come. And we not even get the money, and that they tell back on government because we get for generate so much foreign currency for buy waiting we need for bring come in the country for it. All of this they help for create the poverty line what they talk about. Because of corruption our politics and family, we country don't fail for grow. It fail for grow. Francis Ben Kaifala, it protect the corrupt elements them within the government. This not a secret. This not a secret when they reveal. It is true. We know that now. We get the benefit of Boku hindsight. First time, we be a little bit tempered because we're not being get evidence of some kind. Now we know. Because it's so much around. And we see Usai don't protect them openly. He cannot go against them. Or maybe go after low-hanging fruits. That's very correct. They protect them while they go against the other people. Corruption now with politics, it don't deprive we of the improvement we badly need. Look at in agriculture, Tomabom, we still wait. It's about 4 years towards the end of the administration. 4 years. Where's the dividend? All the talk. Education, of course, we get free and quality education, but then it lays with some degree of truths and half-truths. Like we be the president in $500 per Pekin. We turn again big talk na social media where people enter for justify with the contractors, with the food them we don't introduce and the come on, man. You see now the same low kind of thinking where they stretch them out because you can do your calculation. It's not like guesswork. It's not like guesswork. These things can be quantified, so you can look into them. How many school picking and they in the manifesto? It did it. How many school picking them? How much they spend per unit? Or I not even reach $30. Now how many years you they tell we about $500 per school picking? Over 2.5 million of them. It's just not right. So we infrastructure them, they all lay in tatters. The quality of life of we people them. Look at Dongyanda. And this is it's not been made up, it's just fact. It continue for the drop. More people in poverty today than yesterday. This is a foregone conclusion. This is FACT. Just look at the economy. Just look at inflation. Just look at the prices of goods and services. Just look at the opportunities being created in terms of job. How many people in the get job? The 2 million jobs that you promised 4 years on. How many people have you employed? Other than opening one embassy and that put 7 people, young people in there. Open one bureau day and put your political appointee and there you fumble them where you get for fend job for because they've been back you up. So corruption are with politics, it don't deprive you of the improvement that way we need so badly. Politics has to be about competition. When you get healthy minds in politics with people whose interest is the overall good for the country, what really happens in this case is the country improves. The lifestyle of the country improves. The well-being of the country improves in many respects. Not to talk no more human development index without action. Because human in development index in itself is a good thing. It helps in the development of the country. But what do you put in place to achieve that human development index? What are the structures in place? So it's not only the free quality education, it's in fact how it is tailored, the curriculum. But I'm not criticizing it now because honestly, I love the educational side of things. Quality, no, not yet. That should have come later. Maybe free education for now. And when you shift gears later, 2 or 3 years later, after you'll have achieved certain key elements, then maybe the quality. But you expect it to have teething problems. But this is the thing. Famulem. Una know say the late Zambian leader, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, or Kenneth David Kaunda, yeah. Papa ruled Zambia for some 20 years. When he died, una know must be getting na account $8,000. 20 years of leadership. Same thing with Julius Walimu Nyerere, aka the teacher, Walimu Nyerere of Tanzania. When he died, he get less than 20,000, and I think he get two was one at the city with one old one. In fact, I know to him and saying, people in who I grew up as a boy. Now 8,000, now one net spent for one politician. Imagine that where people and they will not get pumping, no able buy one bag rest. One politician, $8,000, now one net spend. Girlfriend and that. Salon people that we need for wise up. The notion that when a politician enter politics, I repeat, that notion where politicians already think it's a given. It's a given that when they enter politics, when they enter the institutions of government, the institutions of politics, now for enrich themselves, is simply just wrong. Completely wrong. Corruption, where His Excellency ex-Brigadier Julius Marabio promissory strongly, we make a lot of people, including myself, support them, say it can't done corruption, or a frown on them, which resonated well both domestically and internationally, is now on the up. Don't say I say so. Check the report, the audit report. And then the other disingenuous thing where they try for do, for disqualify the report, smear the author of the report, and so that the reports not get relevance. And you actually get some people that will believe, and the question we can go into argument is, do you believe the Auditor General report or not? It's simple. The Auditor General report is a government of Sierra Leone report, a government of Sierra Leone report. Yeah. Where Parliament they review, and where Parliament get one whole standing committee, the Public Account Committee, where they don't bastardize the committee so much and the processes and procedures where this committee need for go through. And this committee, it not even need Abbas Bundu for tell them for Sidon. That's how powerful they are. By law, by the constitution. But for say the bastardization of institutions and we constitution continue. Family, wanna just check these things. You still get people out there when they look at from this perspective that this is what's happening. The one then we agree. Waiting like you want try for do. Now for draw an analogy between the then and the now. In other words, APC then and then SLPP now. Oh, APC been doing. We're waiting on, yeah, this. How can two wrongs make right? Because we accept say some of these things were done by the All People's Congress. But that's why you were voted into power, because you promised the people a new direction. Where is the new direction, sir? Where is it? Parliament, not safe for we people them at all. At all, not safe. The Sierra Leonean people, they see all the nonsense where they go on at the parliament. They reward the party in 2023 and see how they go return. Fambule mago left now with this. As corruption continue for deprive we of good roads, including hospital. I mean, these are the major things, and if these are the things that His Excellency will have done, that will have been a top-class message for take to the people for re-election. I keep the wonder to this day, waiting will be the president in message. But enough again, we'll go hear the power where they talk and wait till he will get for say, he already don't begin with the Lunge Bridge. But here is it. Election is about integrity, or there should be integrity in our election. And the integrity of our election, it must be respected. I repeat, the integrity in our election, it must be respected, and it will be respected because there will be a host of cameras. We know say during the election period, you get government forces, all them police there where they could then soldier them because now you didn't have power. The institutions of state or the instruments of state are at your disposal. But so was the same for Ernest Koroma. He was the leader then, and he had all the instruments of state. 6 months towards election, it changed the three heads of the security parastatal institution in the country: the ONS, the chief of police, the chief of the army. He did. And why was he doing that? Because he was putting things into place for eventually show up in election victory for Dr. Samoa. Definitely. That did not work. He lost the elections. And today you are there. So if it can happen to him, although sometimes people don't learn from history because they can repeat the same deadly mistakes. But with this one, it's about integrity in our elections, which must be respected. The world will be there. The international observers will be there. The people, most of all, the people will be there. And the people will say no if it is not righteous, if the integrity of the election is not respected. Peace is not only the absence of poverty. We need to keep that in at the back of our mind. Peace is not to weigh poverty, no day. There are other many elements of variables to peace. On this basis, family, I want to say thank you for listening. It's been a 2-hour-long program, but I need for end. On Monday, tomorrow, I've got Mr. Mohammed Warise. Very interesting. I don't follow the writings of the young man. He is sharp as a needle. And it get for be an interesting conversation on tomorrow. So please don't forget for tuning 9 o'clock tomorrow on this same channel. Don't forget to, I don't tell you, or else you're going to miss something very, very real, very, very sober. Now you're going to miss you. So I don't come to the end of the program. YouTube, you're doing well with the numbers. Please, please subscribe and spread the word. So don't forget to now join me tomorrow. In behalf of the Then and Now Media Empire, I've been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Koma. They say good night, good morning, and welcome to another week, Monday. Thank you.